Texting. Welcome back to the Mid-Sack on a Freestyle Friday. I'm flying solo tonight. Their double one is out with the family. And I told you guys on Wednesday I'll be back with a Friday night special. Segment 1, NBA recap, Boston Celtics recap. Boston finished the brief 3-game road trip going 3-0 with what may be, to this point anyway, their most impressive win of the season. I am the redoubtable one, Arjun Miliaccia. I'm the highly questionable one. I feel like he's here, but he's not even here. I wish he was, because the Knicks had a great win. The Knicks had a signature win last night, too, against Denver, and we will touch on that a little bit. So the redoubtable one's not here. I am the highly questionable one. Arjun Miliaccio, segment 1, all things NBA basketball. Thursday night recap. Now, there are games going on tonight, of course. The Dallas Mavericks in a shootout beat Atlanta 148-143. Luka dropped 73. This is starting to become a little common here. But again, this plays to my whole, they don't play any defense in this league. We're seeing a lot more of these from Embiid, 70, which we didn't even mention because of who he did it against. It was San Antonio, the worst team in the league. I'm sorry. That doesn't really, they're the worst team in the league. Okay, and he's 2 of Wembyana. So 70, okay, 70 is still 70, but consider the competition. Luka did it to Atlanta tonight. Atlanta is like 12 games below 500. So are they good? No. I mean, 73 is 73. Kudos to him, but I'm sorry. A competitor goes, you did it against who? What's their record? I mean, if this is winning, if a team is winning record, that's more impressive because the team's good. Neither of those two is good. So while 70 and 73 respectively is impressive to a point, consider the competition. Okay, if one of them drops 70 like Booker did on the Celtics a couple years ago, that was impressive. Okay, so anyway, but back to the more recent past. Last night the Celtics had arguably their most impressive win of the season. They went down into Miami, into South Beach, the team that ended their season last year. They beat them earlier in the year, 119-111. It was Bos&Ny up in Boston. They went down there on the 3rd game of their road trip after beating Dallas and Houston, respectively. These are 3 potential playoff teams. They go down there to Miami, and Miami had lost 4 in a row at the time. So you thought that if they were going to get this is the team they could turn their season, stop this streak and start to turn their season back the other way. But Boston was having none of it. And when I say they maybe their most impressive win of the season, when you consider the 143-110 bum blasting, when you break this bum blasting down, it's even more impressive than the number would indicate, because Boston shot 63%, almost 64% from the field. They shot 55% from the three-point line, going 22 for 40. They went to the line 20 times and were 19 for 20. They were 95% from the foul line. They had 11 turnovers. They had 36 assists. So that's a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Now, to me, if you're going to shoot 43s, you better make over 40% of them. They made 55. So obviously you can't bitch about that. That's incredible. It's the best I've ever seen them, I think, really shoot, given that volume. They got to the line 20 times. Can't bitch about that. At least they got 20. My minimum is 20 times a game. So they got there. Now, they were shooting so damn well they didn't have to, but they did. They had a balance. They went inside, they went outside. They worked. It was like body punches and then haymakers. It was balanced. It was surgical. It was the best ball movement in terms of, and the spacing was excellent. They made great decisions. I mean, and 36 assists. I mean, that tells you they were sharing the ball and they were comfortable. They had 7 guys in double figures. Okay, led by Jason Tatum's 26 points. Porzingis, before he got hurt, was the best player on the floor. He had 19 points on 6 of 9 shooting. Holiday, 17 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Derek White just does a little bit of everything. 15 points, 6 assists, 2 blocks. And Jaylen Brown on 11 shots, 7 for 11 shooting, 4 for 8. He was 18 points. He was a plus 22 with 5 rebounds, 5 assists rather, and 3 steals. Okay, and then off the bench, Luke Cornett, who people were up in Boston said had no game. Well, now he's had 12 points again after a 20-point performance as a starter. He came off the bench with 12 points and 5 rebounds. Very efficient from the floor. Al Horford, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Peyton Pritchard continues to be Peyton Pritchard, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And Boston got, it looks like, I think it was 46 points, if my math is right here. Let's see real quick. 7, 11, yeah, 19, 31, 40, 42, yeah, 48 points from the Boston bench. If that's not dominance, they must have changed the definition. And when you consider this is the team that sent them home last year, they sent a message to the Miami Heat and really the league. Because this 3-game win streak, which was all on the road, Houston, Dallas, which was back-to-back, by the way, and now Miami, who's given them fits over the years, this was coming off that heartbreaker at home to the Denver Nuggets. That's how you respond. Now, look, to think Boston was going to go 41-0 at home is not fair to them. I mean, the best team ever that I saw, 86 Celtics, were 40-1. They were going to drop a game or two at some point. If you're losing to the best team in basketball by 2 points in the last minute when you led most of the way, I'm not going to kill you for that. Should they have won the game? Yes, they should have. They were leading the whole way, and they blew it because of too many threes. If their shot selection was like this against Denver, they'd have blown Denver out. Because they had them, they had double-digit leads 3 different times in that game and blew it because they didn't have good shot selection. Last night, that was as close to perfect as you can get, and the numbers bear it out. So Miami could do nothing about it. I mean, they basically made Miami quit. And the one thing about the Miami Heat, and I don't like them, I laugh at Heat culture and their fans because Heat culture. What is Heat culture? Heat culture, okay? And when they say it, I'm like, wow, that looks an awful like the culture that Red Auerbach built in Boston. So it's not really Heat culture, it's Celtic culture. It's cute. It's a cute little spin-off. And you've got 3 world championships. It's well and good. That's like a sneeze to our 17 world championships. So, but that's their Heat. The Celtics took this so-called Heat culture and wiped their ass with it last night and sent a message. And you can tell they sent a message because in the postgame, Eric Spoelstra, who's an excellent coach, knows the game, came up through the system, was tutored by Pat Riley, who's another Hall of Fame coach. And he sat there with this look on his face going, look, they're it. He was referring to the Celtics. They're it. This is the standard, and we got to go back to work because right now we don't measure up. We don't. And he said the word. It was humbling tonight what they did to us. It was humbling. And for that man to say that in front of the cameras tells you all you need to know about how dominant they were. And Porzingis goes down. The people that always bash him about getting hurt, he's going up for a rebound. Adebayo's underneath him, doesn't bother to move, lands on his foot, twists the ankle. Now, the good news is he walked back out under his own power, sat back on the bench. He was still in uniform. They never needed him again because when he went out of the game, they were up almost 19, whatever. They extended the lead to as much as 30-something points without him. Okay? So they never took their foot off the gas, and the depth and balance of this team showed after he went out. Before he went out, he looked like the best player on the floor. That should scare everyone in this league because he also showed this against Denver. And again, I'll reiterate this again. If they had this kind of shot selection and ball movement against Denver, they'd have blown Denver out. So, but they'll get one more crack at them later on in the year in March, I believe, out in Colorado. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, that's a tape they should literally just watch again and again and again, and not for the shots they made, but for the shot selection. Outside, inside, outside, post up, mid range, penetrate, dish, extra pass, not settling, going to the rim, getting fouled. Okay, offensive rebounding. Okay, look, Miami put up 64 points in the first half. In the second half, Boston held them to 46. They even turned up the clamps on defense. And while Miami has a lot of individual talent, they've got 4 20-point scorers on that roster, they're going to need some time to figure out how to make that all work. And maybe they can. If they can, they could be formidable down the stretch because 4 20-point scorers is 4 20-point scorers. You got to figure out a way, if you're Spoelstra, how to make it work. That takes time. Terry Rozier, we talked about the trade. He came over. He's played 2 games. That's not nearly enough time to figure out how to get that unit to work together. So Miami right now, you need patience. You have a whole second half of the season to work that out. The East is very balanced after the top 2 teams. So there's no reason why Miami still can't finish as high as 3, okay, and be very dangerous in the playoffs. They were the 8th seed last year and went to the finals. So, and that was without Tyler Hero, and there's no Terry Rozier. So on paper, and they got Jaime Vasquez, the wonder kid from UCLA, who I think is an excellent ball player. He's off their bench too. So Miami has some pieces to work with. They got to figure out how to make it all work together. Spoelstra's the kind of guy, if anyone can figure that out, I think it's him. So I reserve the right to pass judgment on Miami later, but this was a clear message last night. Boston sent it, and they sent it in refreshingly alarming fashion. Because to me, they were the team that looked like they had lost 4 in a row. Not the Miami Heat. They were the team that played with a sense of urgency. They were the team that played with a purpose. And this is what I'm always on them about, signature games. Games that you circle on the calendar. We got to make a statement in this game. So they need more of those. because if they can play like this again or continue to play like this, I don't know who's going to beat them if they're healthy in a 7-game series. I don't care where they play, okay? But this is the kind of potential they had. If you didn't see that game, find a way to get that. They've got replays on Hulu and things like that. TNT had the game. Try and find a way to watch if you're a Celtics fan if you missed it, because honestly, that was Celtic basketball. The movement without the ball, the passing, everything. They freaking Tatum went into the mid post, Brown post, even Drew Holiday, who could post up. And Derek, I love the way Derek White plays basketball. Whatever the team needs, he just looks at it and goes, okay, I got to do this tonight. He just does it. He doesn't care. Okay, so I love this starting five. I think it's the best in the league. Al Horford coming off the bench is great. They're developing their bench. Typically, we're always bashing Missoula here for too many three-point shots, but I'll tell you what he has done this year that's better. He's using his bench, he's trusting his bench, and he's getting results. And the more he trusts them now, the better they're going to be in May and into June. And that's when you're going to need, everybody says, well, they shorten their rotation in the playoffs to 8 guys. Boston doesn't have to do that. Boston can still play 10 in the playoffs if they're going to play like this, because they have 10 guys that can play. They really do. And it doesn't matter who it's against. So he has to continue to do that and grow that bench. And if he does, it's going to pay dividends down the road for them. But it was a very impressive win last night. I was surprised. I thought they might win. I didn't think they would do that. I didn't, in my wildest dreams, think they would do that. Okay. Now again, when you shoot 55% from the three, that solves a lot of problems. But it wasn't like the Denver game where they took 7, 8, 9 threes in a row before they thought about going to the basket again. This was more methodical. It was more surgical. There was a plan. Okay, if they missed a couple of threes, they went to the basket. And it seemed like the players were aware of it. They were actually aware. Okay, we missed a couple of rows. Someone needs to go to the basket here, and they did it. They took it upon themselves to do it. And to me, that's the sign of growth. So maybe they are finally learning. We'll see. It's one game. I'm impressed, but I'm not going to sit here and go, okay, it's over. It's not over. They got to prove to me they can do this again. And it doesn't mean they're going to shoot 55% from the three. It's about the shot selection, the balance. You've got to have balance. And that was balance last night. 80 shots, 43s, 20 foul shots. Okay, and they were efficient in all 3 areas. 36 assists, 11 turnovers. Okay. So they won the rebounding battle. That's efficiency. They got to be efficient. They got to be smart. If they do that, I'll live with 43s if they're taking good shots and they're mixing it up with penetration, mid-range game, and getting to the foul line. If they do that, I'm not going to bitch about 43s. But when they're taking 43s and 10 free throws, yeah, I'm going to bitch about it. Because anybody who knows basketball would bitch about it. There's no balance there. It's too much. Okay, and that's what. By the way, when the Celtics lose, that seems to be the reason they always lose. So this is something they have to fix. Okay, and this tape, this video, this game, if I'm Missoula, this is the one I keep, whenever they screw up, this is what you guys are capable of doing. See this? Forget who the opponent is. The opponent doesn't matter. If you're playing the game the right way, you're playing against the game itself. The opponent doesn't matter. There's a little secret for you, okay? When you're playing this game the right way, it's not you. It's not the opponent doesn't matter. It's you versus the game. And you adapt based on the way the game is going, the flow of the game is, and you adapt accordingly. Balance is always key, though, no matter what's happening, okay? You've got to go to the basket. You've got to get to the foul line. You cannot live and die by the three. That's why that cliche is good. Live by the three, die by three. That didn't become a cliche by accident. It's true, okay? There's only one team that's proven they can do that. That's Golden State. Golden State's a shell of themselves. That thing is over. They're over. They'll be lucky if they make the playoffs. And if they do, I'd be shocked if they got out of the first round this time, because I don't think they'll draw Sacramento again, who was wet behind the ears. They had no playoff experience. So that level of doing things is gone. The return of the big man is back. You look at all the big men around this league, there's a lot of dominant big men, and there's only going to be more of them as this goes on. Okay? So I love what they did last night. It's a starting point. Let's see what they do with it. The New York Knicks, by the way, I wish Tommy was here, because I don't think he saw this game last night. I think he looked at that game and thought what most people thought, well, Denver's going to beat them. They're not ready to beat that team. Really? New York sent a message to everybody else in the East going, because since they made this trade, we call them OG, but they had their signature win. And Kendrick Perkins has been hollering about this because New York is 20-1 against teams below 500, but they're only 7-16 against teams with a winning record. Well, that was before last night when Denver came to town. New York throttled the defending champs, okay? And when I say throttled, the score, which I just had here, where was it? They held Denver to 84 points, okay? So the score of that game last night, just real quick, if my computer wants to work, where is it? Right here. The Knicks 122, Denver 84. A 38-point bum blasting in Madison Square Garden. This trade, I'll tell you what, before the trade, the Knicks were giving up 124 points a game. Since the trade, the Knicks are holding opponents to 99 points a game. Let me say that again. Before the trade, Tom, the Knicks were allowing 124 points a game. Since the trade, 99. That is a 25-point swing. In any sport, that's astronomical, okay? And they had balance, they had depth. Randall, 17, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. OG, whatever, Anunoby, we call him OG, 26 points, 10 of 18 shooting, 6 steals. Talked about defense, 6 steals. Brunson had a very efficient 21 points, 4 assists on 7 of 10 shooting. That's pretty efficient. And then DiVincenzo, 16 points. McBride off the bench, 13 points. Quentin Grimes, 19 points off the bench. 7 of 11 shooting. The Knicks bench, very formidable. Tom Thibodeau has a reason to smile. He's got a legit contender in the East. And I'll tell you what, sometimes it just takes 1 or 2 players that are defensive-minded, that don't care about that can change the entire culture of a team. The Knicks may have found it. And Denver had no answer. Now, look, and here's the thing. Jokic got off. He got his points. Jokic had 31 points and 11 rebounds. Jokic did his thing. Here's the key, and this is why Boston failed. Boston had Mr. Murray. Okay, to me, he's the key. Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, the point guard. He had 35 points against the Celtics. Celtics lost 102 to 100. The Knicks held him to 9 points. And the Celtics have a better backcourt defensively than the Knicks do. They really do. And if you throw Jaylen Brown in there, it's not even close. But he got 2 fouls in the first quarter against Boston, and Boston didn't go after him. The Knicks held him to 9 points. That there was the difference in the game. And that's the key to beating Denver. You're not going to stop Jokic. But Jokic isn't good enough to beat you by himself either. If you have a real team, it's just like when Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan. He scored 63 one day in the Boston Garden, if you remember, and he lost. Because the Celtics were like, all right, and Dennis Johnson, by the way, got 4 fouls in the first half and couldn't guard him. Everybody forgets that little side tidbit. So they had to put everybody else on him but Dennis Johnson, who was the one guy who could guard him. Okay? And he had 63 points, still lost because the Celtics had balance, had depth, had more people, and they shut everybody else around him down. That's exactly what the Knicks did to Denver last night. Jokic got his, nobody else did a damn thing. And the Knicks made sure of it. And that's why they won by 38 freaking points. That was no fluke. That was no accident. The Knicks are for real. And if they keep playing defense like this, they're going to give anybody, all that they can handle. And that would include my beloved Boston Celtics. I'm happy for Tom. I'm pissed for me because the road just got harder. But that's all right. Winning a championship's never easy. And we may have to go through New York to get it. New York is legit. They are legit right now. So both teams had signature wins last night. Boston comes home tomorrow to play and they won again tonight, the Los Angeles Clippers, who just, since December 3rd, they have the best record in the NBA, the Clippers. They've got 4 Hall of Famers on their roster, and they're all playing like it. And they won by 20 on the road tonight. If you go to the Western standings, the Clippers have won 4 in a row, 8 of their last 10. And they are just 2 games back as of tonight. They are 2 games out of the 1 seed in the West. They are 29-14. They are 19-4 at home, 10-10 away. And they come into Boston very hot tomorrow night. So we'll see what happens with Kristaps Porzingis. If I'm Boston, I don't play him tomorrow night if don't rush him back. You're at home. You have a bench. You have enough, even without him, to beat this team at home, and you're a better defensive team. I want to see this. I would like to see this team play them without him and see how they respond. Because that's going to, if you can beat a team like this that's coming in as hot as the Clippers are, and you could beat them without Porzingis, that would be a statement. And I think at home the Celtics can pull it off. I don't know if they could do it out in LA. I think they already beat him out there though. But they had Porzingis when they played him. To get him at home, I think they might be able to get away with it. I'd like to see that. To me, that'd be a challenge. So they got the Clippers tomorrow night in what is now a very interesting game. The Knicks, just so we get the schedule right, The Knicks did not play tonight. They play tomorrow at 3 o'clock on ABC, Tom, against the Miami Heat, who have now lost 5 in a row after Boston's bitch slapping last night. So they're coming up to New York. Those two teams don't like each other. We'll see if the Knicks can kick them when they're down, because right now would be a good time to get them, because the Heat seem to be, something's not right about them. And I don't know if there's, I was looking at one of the Miami podcasts last night, rather this morning after the game, and the people that follow that team down there were of the impression that there's something's not right in that locker room. They weren't saying it was dissension. They weren't saying, but they just said something doesn't feel right about this team right now. Something internally they think is wrong. They don't know, as great as Adebayo and Butler and Hero appear to be on paper, they don't think they mesh well together for some reason. They seem to do better when one of them's out of the lineup, whichever one it is. I don't get that, but I don't follow them the way they do. But that's what I got out of that. That's weird. And now they throw Rozier into the mix, which on paper should make them better, especially from an offensive standpoint. So now, look, Spoelstra's been there a long time. He just got an extension. The guy's got a ring on his finger. He knows what he's doing. If anybody can right that ship, it's him, and he's got time to do it. But I don't know. Look, when a couple of people that follow him are saying that with this smoke, there tends to be some fire. How big a flame? I have no idea. We'll find out. But tomorrow night, the Heat are walking into the Lions' den because the Knicks are feeling themselves right now, and they're getting better by the day. This is not a good time for Miami to be catching New York. I'll be honest with you. So we'll see what happens tomorrow in Madison Square Garden. But that's our pre-basketball preview and recap for the night. We'll come back segment 2, the curious case of Bill Belichick. People were saying and have been saying to me for 3 years, you need to let this go, man. This is getting crazy. Turns out I didn't need to let it go at all. Turns out the things that I were bitching about are now costing this man the chance at the one thing he covets the most. And that is Don Shula, who called him a cheater and a liar. He wants that guy's record. And right now, it doesn't look like anybody's going to give him a chance to do it, at least not this season. And it's for the exact reasons that I've been talking about and hounding about and pissing him on about for 3 years. Well, clearly I wasn't off my rocker, because the powers that be in the NFL seems to have come to the conclusion that I came to a long time ago. We'll talk about that in segment 2, the curious case of Bill Belichick. Come on back.